This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm joined by two folks from California this evening. I have Hilary Cline from Cline Cellars, and also from Cline Cellars, but not of the family. I have Tom Gendall, the director of both winemaking and viticulture at Cline Cellars. How are you both today?
Doing really good.
I'm doing great too. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now you are both coming live and direct from Sonoma right now?
Mm-hmm.
Superb.
Yes, we're about, like 500 feet apart right now.
Oh,
yes.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about this bottle of wine right here. We have the 2020 North Coast Viognier. Now, Viognier is one of those grapes that I fall in and out of love with. But enough about my thoughts on the grapes. Hilary and Tom, please tell us your thoughts on Viognier and why it means so much at Cline Cellars.
Yeah, I think Viognier, we have always made Rhone varietals and Zinfandels. That's really kind of what we started making when my dad started in the early 80s. And you can't really dabble in Rhone varieties without moving into Viognier. But he started out in Contra Costa, and he really realized quickly that warm climates are not where he enjoyed Viognier from. So you can really get, I think the reason people sometimes fall out of love with Viognier is it can get that more overly perfumey, sometimes flabby character in warm climates. That's why, yes, we've always been very careful to source from the cooler climates. This one is mostly from Mendocino coast and that area. So that's been something that we've always done with our Viogniers, go to the cooler climates and get that crispness, that tropical fruit more so. Wouldn't you say, Tom?
Yeah, no, definitely. Viognier is the staple workhorse of the Rhone Valley. It's the most famous white. I absolutely love Viognier. So I made a little bit of it before I started at Cline. And it's quickly become one of my absolute favorites to work with. It's really, really fun. It's so vibrant, got so much more aromatics and so much complexity as well. It's one of my favorite wines to take to people's for dinner because I find it makes all your aromatic people happy. It's got so much tropicalness going on, so much vibrancy, but it's also got this great texture, this oiliness and this richness that makes your Chardonnay drinkers happy, and it matches with a great array of food. And so, at Cline, we make 3 different Viogniers. This North Coast is our largest production one. We work with family growers throughout Mendocino and also a little bit in Lake County, which is all part of the North Coast appellation. And then we grow a little bit of it ourselves as well down here in Sonoma. So we've got 4 ranches, and all 4 ranches in this Sonoma Coast area have Viognier planted to it. And it's just been a wonderful blend for us. It's been super popular, and it's great to share and great to drink.
I think one of my problems with a number of Californian Viognier was that kind of flabbiness that was coming from fruit being grown in some of those warmer climes. But if one is taking Viognier to some of those cooler areas, Viognier, if my memory serves me well, has one Achilles heel in the vineyard, and that is it's quite early budding, is it not?
It's not super early budding. Like right now, we've got bud burst here in Carneros.
Right.
In Carneros in Sonoma. And Viognier is definitely not the first one out. Viognier is kind of middle of the pack. Like right now, we've got Chardonnay coming out, Riesling's already out, and then Nebbiolo's coming out too. Nebbiolo's are wildly early bud breaking as well. And relative to those, it's not as early as others. We're not. Viognier is definitely not our first one out. We're not that frost prone around here. I mean, it's the 22nd of March. We've got good bud. Well, we've got some bud break in our vineyards here in Carneros. Some of the warmer spots are well out. But our Petaluma Gap vineyards, where the bulk of our vineyards in Sonoma County are, aren't even close to really being out. Up in Mendocino, it's interesting because it's a slightly shorter harvest. Bud breaks a little bit later because it's a bit colder up there. During the middle of the season, the heat gets a little bit higher and a bit more intense, and so we're typically picking. So it's a more compressed growing window. So bud breaks a little bit later, so you're protected a little bit more from the frost. However, you also got a warmer climate, and so you're picking it a little bit earlier. But up in Mendocino, they do use frost protection. They're close to the river, you get a bit more airflow and stuff like that, but you still get that frost draining down into the valleys. And so overhead irrigation, sprinklers and stuff like that. But again, Sauvignon Blanc buds earlier than Viognier, and so they're spending more time protecting other varieties. And Viognier is not, it's not also not a hugely widely planted variety either. There's not that much of it to go get. So
that's I think been a major struggle for us, because we I think we're probably one of the larger producers of Viognier. Just it's
not saying much.
In a small pond. Yeah, but we do struggle to find sources of it, and that's why we really have leaned into planting more down here in Sonoma as well, because it is hard to find growers that have really taken Viognier and ran with it.
There's not many growers, and we've been working with pretty much all of them for a really long time. We've got really good relationships with them, and they're great growers who have been making good Viognier for a long time.
How fashionable is Viognier as a grape right now? Because I can remember when I first arrived in Canada, I was pushing Viognier all the time. I guess it's kind of cyclical, whether it's in or out of fashion, if people follow such things.
I would say Viognier has never, I don't know, I think I wouldn't say it's the most fashionable. It hasn't been, but for us, it's definitely been the steady wine that people love and have always revisited. And so I think that, whereas maybe, let's see, like Vermentino or different Italian whites are more fashionable now, like Viognier is almost seen as more classic for our clientele. And it's just a kind of one that they'll revisit, but maybe not on the cutting edge. What would you say, Tom?
I feel like a little bit of Cline was a little bit ahead of their time doing all the stuff that we did. It's like we were turned up to the party about 10 years too early. And so we've always been known to do it, and we missed the cool kind of buzz, even though we've been doing all these amazing things. We've been making GSMs for 20, 25 years and stuff, and like doing all the things that the new kids have been doing, and we've been doing it forever. So I don't know, Viognier, I love drinking it. I love tasting it. I know some of the Soms are getting into Condrieu and stuff like that, the French counterparts. And, there's some really high quality Viogniers out there. But once again, it's tough because I feel like it's also the ugly child. It's like Gewürztraminer. People scared of the name, and if they don't know how to say it and things like that, it's not commonly found and stuff. It's usually small growers who are producing a couple hundred cases for their wine clubs and stuff like that. So it's just not as accessible. If you go into the supermarket sets, there is literally no other Viognier in the supermarkets. So it's not like it's out front customer. You know what I mean? You go to the Viognier corner, and it's basically like Cline and Cline by itself.
I've often thought that perhaps one of the reasons that Viognier never really became I don't want to say a mass market, but it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue quite as easily as, say, Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc. I once had a boss when I first arrived in Canada who insisted it was pronounced Viognier, and had me pronounce it as Viognier. I was like, no, it's not. But I was just a little boy back then. He didn't listen to me. 3 years later, he apologized to me with a very red.
We get some really good pronunciations of this varietal in the tasting room. So
I'm sure, it's definitely, it is, because people get scared of it if they haven't read it on a menu and stuff like that. And you're more likely to see it in a restaurant than you are to find it in a wine store, or find it, because you've got a great som who's like, oh man, I've got some spicy dishes, so Viognier goes perfectly with it, and things like that. So. It's definitely kind of a wine in the know, so to speak. Like my mother is not a huge wine drinker. They enjoy wine and stuff like that. She got all excited about a Viognier she found, you know what I mean? So, they think it's a real discovery find, and that is what it is, It's more of a discovery find, and you get some people who really take to it, and other people kind of can give a take. But our Viognier is really, really approachable, and it's got so much flavor. It's got nice acidity, but it's that richness and roundness, great food pairing wine, and it's really fun to drink, and it's fun to share with people.
I mean, it's definitely not a shy wine, is it?
No, not at all.
It comes in at a pretty healthy 14.5% alcohol, but you've got some good balance going on here, right? The wine has the sufficient weight and texture to carry that alcohol, and that acidity that comes from your diurnal shift, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's very hot days and very cold nights. It retains its acidity really, really nicely. Viognier kind of we normally bottle it around about 14 to 14.5% alcohol. It comes a little bit as thin and a little bit insipid sometimes, and you get more of the perfume versus the stone fruit. And so we want to get those nice perfumey stone fruit characteristics. And definitely we do watch out for the acidity. The acidity isn't the driving factor in this wine. It's more that phenolic structure and that richness that comes through. But the acidity keeps it fresh and keeps you light on the tongue, that juiciness that keeps you drinking it and keeps enjoying it. So it's a tightrope walk. Viognier kind of, it does this weird thing where, if you're not right on top of it, sorry, I'm looking at the bottle when I look away. When you're not right on top of it, it jumps from, like 22, 23 bricks, and all of a sudden you're staring at 25, 26 bricks. It just kind of does this big jump where it just kind of starts dehydrating basically. And so, you've got to get that nice balance and you watch out for your flaviness, obviously. So yeah, it's a nice tightrope, but we source from lots of different spots. And so kind of we get that nice mixture. And yeah, it's basically it's all stainless steel fermented. We get little portions of it get a little bit of neutral oak barrel age to help enhance that richness as well. But it's all about that aromatic profile really driving this wine.
I think it's a very accomplished Viognier for the money, that's for sure. I think it's if I were still teaching wine classes, I would give this as a kind of benchmark Californian Viognier. Now, this is quite delicious.
Yeah, and it's super approachable. It's easy to find, and no, it's a really great one. We squabble over it at home as well. Who gets to drink it? Yeah.
Now, you said you find this quite versatile with regards to food pairings, and you mentioned kind of spicier dishes and the like. Hilary, what have your experiences been matching this particular wine?
Yeah, I would definitely say this is like my go-to for any kind of Asian meal I'm cooking. Things that have that little bit of spice, seafood, things like that, just because it does balance it out so well. And especially if, you don't want to go for a Riesling or a, fully kind of sweet profile wine, this does bring in that tropical fruit and really does balance it out. And I think it's just a perfect wine for all those kinds of dishes.
I didn't ask, and I should have researched earlier. What is the RS on this at the end of the day?
This is normally about 4 grams per liter RS.
Yes, yeah.
So it's
just
that
kind of nice perceived sweetness going on, that richness, which is just gorgeous, right? Really?
Yeah, so it's dry. It's dry. It's not bone dry, but yeah, it's just enough to kind of give it that unctuous characteristic, and then that acidity kind of helps balance that really nicely. Yeah,
fantastic.
And helps hold that alcohol in there as well.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this bottle later this evening. Thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Really appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your bottle.
Cheers. Yeah. Thanks so much for having us,
definitely.
Jamie.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.